Hare Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Archana Mataji. Though you are traveling, we can see that, but still you read Mangalacharan and does this Kirtan, beautiful Kirtan. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hari Bol. So we welcome our speaker, today's speaker. His grace is Prasanatma Balram Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Oh, yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Then, yeah, Hare Krishna to you, Mataji.
Pranam Prabhu.
Is my audio okay?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
You're able to hear?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay.
I was just trying the new earphones, so I was just checking.
Oh, okay.
So, can we start?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, you can start.
Okay, so Hare Krishna, and then was pronounced to all the devotees who are here. So this is a wonderful day, first of the new year. I mean, for a Vaishnava, of course, every day is an equally auspicious day because we try to spend our day in the remembrance of the Lord, in carrying out some seva for the Lord, and so on and so forth. But then it is always good to have such days like the New Year day. Then it is a special day because if we pause and then think back the year that has gone by and be appreciative of all the good things that have happened to us, so that the mercy that we have received from the Vaishnavas, the knowledge that we have gained, the association that we have had with Vaishnavas, and then the service opportunities that were given to us. So then this is a time where we can just reflect on those and then thank the Lord, thank the Guru Parampara for this wonderful opportunity, even though we are not worthy of it. And also a time to think back, and then there would be some regrets, some instances where we missed some opportunities. There could have been some instances where we had to give up some service. So at least if we feel a little regrettive about it, and then pray to the Lord that such an incident becomes lesser and lesser, and then have more and more instances of where we are able to take up the opportunity and then carry out the seva, and also appreciate the aspects or all the things that are coming our way. Even appreciate all the difficulties that came our way, because Krishna is actually teaching us or toughening us, or he's straightening things out for us. So in that mood, I mean, if we are able to see this new year, and then also forward looking, like, the coming year again, take some resolutions and then say that I will definitely want to do more in the service of the Lord. So today I am here, and then tomorrow I would like to be a little ahead, a few steps ahead. And then, of course, beg for the mercy of the Lord so that we are able to make this journey, this one-way journey, and not end up having a U-turn or any of those unfortunate things. So in this way, take this opportunity to wish each one of you a very happy New Year. A New Year where all of you would definitely look forward to the opportunities that are going to come up to us, and also spend some time quickly to thank for all the past year, all the good things that we happened, which I just spoke of. So on that note, wishing you all a happy New Year. We can get started. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I think it's a privilege for me to speak to you all on the first day of the New Year. So then, yes, always indebted to ICF team, and to Mataji, to Narayani Krupamayi Mataji. So she's a wonderful host. So thank you so much, Mataji. So today we will look at the verses from, I'll try to share this, just give me a minute. So we will follow the same process of trying to, just a second.
Prabhu, can you able to share?
I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took a little time. Sorry about that. Okay, so you all can see the screen, I think. That's visible. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can start today's class, which will be from verses 21 to 25. These are the 5 verses that we will cover in the 14th chapter in Canto 3 of Shrimad Bhagavatam. So that's the verse that we will look at. Before we get started, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhavati Naishtaki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Angum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Aham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So first I'll read this verse and then others can read one by one, taking turns. I can see already the hands are up. So thank you so much. Verse 21 goes like this. Na vayam prabhavastam tvam anukartum griheshwari apiyayusha va atsneya snena ye chanye gunagradnavaha na vayam prabhavastam tvam anukartum griheshwari apiyayusha va atsnena ye chanye gunagradnavaha. So anybody wants to read this? I can see
Anita
Anita
Mataji?
Mataji.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Happy New Year to you and all of you on the call. Thank you so much for giving your association today for the first day of the year. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, na vayam prabhavastam tvam manukartum griheshwari api ayusha vakasanyena ye chanye guna grudnavaha.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So now we'll go to the translation. So, Prashanti Mataji, can you read the translation?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Happy New Year Prabhuji. Happy New Year Mataji, everyone. Translation by Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Queen of the Home, we are not able to act like you, nor could we repay you for what you have done, even if we work for our entire life or even after death. To repay you is not possible, even for those who are admirers of personal qualities. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Dhanush Pranam. So this is Kashyapa Muni. He is speaking to Diti. That's the context here. So we'll see the next verse, which is up now, verse number 22. Who would like to read? Shanti Mataji, do you want to read? Go ahead.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Happy
Krishna.
New Year to you and everyone, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving the opportunity on the first day of the new year. Hare Krishna. अथापि काममेधं ते प्रजाते करवाण्यलं यथा मां नादिवोचन्ति मुहूर्तं प्रतिपालय. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Somebody else want to read the translation?
Sindhu Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Pranam Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Translation by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Even though it is not possible to repay you, I shall satisfy your sex desire immediately for the sake of begetting children. But you must wait for only a few seconds so that others may not reproach me. Shall I read the purport?
Not necessary, Mataji. We are not doing the purports. Thank you for that. So verse 23. Divya Mataji.
एषा घोरात्मा वेला घोरानां घोरदर्शना चरन्ति यस्यां भूतानि भूतेषु चरणिः. हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी. दंडवत प्रणाम.
Thank you so much, Mataji. And then the translation of this verse, please. Chandana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna, Dandavat.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This particular time is most inauspicious because at this time the horrible looking ghosts and constant companions of the Lord of the Ghosts are visible. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Thank you. 24 and 25 also, let's see. It's there up now. So, Sudha Mataji, you can read this.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams, Hare Krishna Mataji. Happy New Year to all. एतस्यां साध्विसन्ध्यायां भगवान् भूतभावनः परितो भूतपर्षद्भिर्वृष्णेनातति भूतरात्. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. And the translation?
Navkishori Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Shiva, the kingdom of the ghost, sitting on the back of his bull carrier, travels at this time accompanied by ghosts who follows him for their welfares. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. And the final verse for today coming up, that is verse number 25. Is there anyone who wants to try this? Yeah, please go ahead.
Smashana chakramukchakranira dhulidhunra vikarna vichota tatakalapaha bhatmavaguna tamalak rutmadevo devatribi pashyati devaraste. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. And the translation, the final translation, who would like to read that?
Archana Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Shiva's body is reddish and he is unstained, but he is covered with ashes. His hair is dusty from the whirlwind dust of the burning crematorium. He is the younger brother of your husband, and he sees with his 3 eyes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So these are the 5 verses that we will cover. Thank you for reading all of them. Okay. So before we get started, the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschayata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so these are very, actually these shlokas that we just saw and then this entire chapter is very important. It's very wonderful because there are so many things that are coming out here. In fact, the title of this particular chapter is called as Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening. And so there is an entire chapter that is dedicated here, which is talking about many aspects. And Prabhupada has brought out so many things in this particular chapter and also in these verses that we will see. So if you look at the background, here we have the situation where Kashyapa Muni in the evening, after he has finished his sacrifice, he is sitting in a trance or he is trying to meditate. And that is when he, one of his wives, she approaches him. And then actually Kashyapa Muni is speaking. And he is speaking, and then he is praising Diti for all the help that she's been rendering to him. In fact, she is saying, Kashyapa Muni is acknowledging the fact that, she is the source of all the three perfections of liberation. Because we know that the Purushartha, there are these four aspects, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and then Moksha. So when it comes to Artha and Kama, so she is the one who is helping the husband in ensuring that they are able to lead lives which are within the tenets of this Purushartha, the three Purushartha, which is Dharma, Artha, and then Kama. And he is also going on and going ahead, and then she's saying, like, it becomes so much better for husband to face the outside world when you have the wife at home who's taking care of things. So he's saying, in fact, a respectful one, the wife is so helpful that she is called the better half of a man's body because of her sharing in all the species activities. So that's why generally when there is any activity that is being performed, any puja or any religiosity, any religious activity is being performed, then generally a grihastha, when he is doing it, then there is also this need for the wife to be next to the husband, and then they will do it jointly. This is something that is being followed from time immemorial. You can, I think there is also the story in Ramayana where Mata Sita was not there in a particular yajna, and then they had to make a pratima of her, and then he was placed next to Ram, and then the yajna happened. So much of importance was given for the inclusion of the wife in any action or activity that the husband is endeavoring to or endeavoring for. So that's one aspect that we can see. And then here Kashyapa Muni is also saying how it becomes so much better for the man of the house to so much at peace with the outside world, so he can then take on any type of because outside world is not a very good place, and there is so many tribulations that are there, which is being thrown at an individual, because we are in this material world. Material world is full of dukhalayam, and then there is always distress. So many things come our way, but then it becomes easy. And then their comparison is to a commander who can easily ward off the invading plunderers by taking shelter of a wife who can conquer the senses which are unconquerable in other social orders. So in the Grihastha Ashrama, the ability for a person, for a man to conquer the senses becomes more, because it is within a certain boundary, or within us, it is a restricted sense enjoyment is there. So there is this opportunity to enjoy the senses, and at the same time there is opportunity for advancement in one's life. Advancement means, we mean spiritual advancement, because by following dharma and then earning some money, and then fulfilling the desires as laid out by the Shastras, then it leads to liberation. And that is what is the Purushartha all about, which is Dharma, Artha, Kama, and then Moksha. But of course, modern day, there is a lot of things that have gone haywire. Dharma is forgotten and Moksha is forgotten. So they are only clinging on to the other two, which is Artha, money, and then Kama, which is fulfillment of desires. Only these two are remaining, or only these two they are able to see. Not able to see the Dharma portion, which is preceding these two, and then the Moksha portion, which is the culmination of, or the completion of or fulfillment of the life. So these are the two things that get missed out in Kali Yuga, unfortunately. But anyway, coming back to Kashyapa, so he says that he is in the mood of gratitude. I was just saying, New Year, it's a time for us to, the first day of the New Year. So we should have this gratitude for all the things that have happened. So in this way, now we see the mood being set by Kashyapa Muni in these shlokas. So where he is saying that it is not possible to repay you. So that's what he's saying. So he says, O queen of the home, in this verse 21, it says she is referring to his wife, that is Diti, as the queen of the home. And he says that we could not repay, we cannot repay you. And then he is using a collective noun here. He says, we are not able to act like you, nor could we repay you. So this we is referring to all the husbands in general for their respective wives. So we know Shrimad Bhagavatam is all about, it's not just about stories, it is about a message that is being put across to us by way of these stories. And all of these stories are incidences that have happened in the past where great personalities have come and lived life in a way worthy of living, so that the people who are preceding them will be able to follow those actions, and then thereby they will be able to make their lives also successful. So that way the message of Srimad Bhagavatam becomes very important, and all aspects of life are being discussed. All aspects with respect to brahmachari life, or a small boy, and then an adolescent, or every aspect of it, and then what are the various emotions that are connected with these stages of life, and then how one goes about taking care or handling these emotions, and fulfilling the desires at the same time, and thereby trying to transcend these emotions or these desires which are there. So it's not about fulfillment, but it is about going beyond fulfillment of desires, which is trying to transcend those things, and thereby making our lives successful. Because we know that our lives become successful only when we are able to come out of the material desires that we have. We are all coming in with a certain set of material desires because we have a material body, and that's the exact reason why we have a material body. We've given this body because we have some desires, and then there is also an outlet for fulfilling those desires. But at the same time, parallelly, there is also an opportunity to transcend these desires and come out and break the cycle of birth and death, and thereby make our life successful. That's the whole sum and substance of the message that comes across in various in various leelas that we see. And in this particular story, we are looking at the relationship between husband and wife, and so wonderfully being portrayed by Kashyapa Muni and Diti. So let's also remember that these are all they're all personalities, great personalities, who are actually part of the leela, who are part of teaching. Like, say, we have heard from the acharyas, they say in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, we all know. And then Arjuna takes on the role of somebody who is not who's not well versed, or who's not aware of many things. But actually, he is aware. But then he is asking these questions in many ways. In many instances, this Prabhupada is giving this explanation where he says that Arjuna actually is playing that role so that it will benefit all the people. That the whole conversation will proceed, and then it will benefit all of mankind. And that's the way in which they become part of the Leela. So of course, the mercy of Krishna, he is made to forget, and then he is asking, and then there is a discussion that happens. So in the same way, all the great personalities, they might look like they are acting normal lives like regular human beings, where there are desires, and then there is a need for fulfillment, and there is a discussion that happens, and so on and so forth. But these have to be looked the right way, so that we are able to understand the essence and take the import of it, rather than just the physical aspect of it. So here, the Grahastha couple, Kashyapa Muni and Diti, are having a conversation where Diti is actually expressing her desire to have children, and then she is saying that she is looking forward to her husband, so that this desire of having a child is fulfilled. And then Kashyapa Muni, and then she wants it immediately. So then Kashyapa Muni is saying that that is when then he is praising his wife, and then he says that we men will not be able to repay you for all that you have done. And then he says, even if we worked for our entire life or even after death, we will not be able to repay you. So repayment is impossible, even for those who are admirers of personal quality. So whichever way, admiration or it is repayment. It is, repayment is not possible even for a person who's aware of all these things or a person who's not aware. So this is actually telling very clearly how a man should look at a woman. We have seen how a man should look at other women, so everybody is a mata, and then there's a little more in depth, and then it's talking about how a man should look at his own wife also. So while man is supposed to look at all women as Matajis other than his wife, and then how one should look at wife also is being explained here, which is a wonderful learning for all. And then he says that I shall definitely try to satisfy all your wants, because without you, my progress is not possible. So he is acknowledging that fact. And then he says that I shall satisfy your sex desires immediately for the sake of begetting children. But then, this is in the next verse, verse 22. But then it says that you must wait for a few seconds. So because what is happening now and what is so different after a few seconds? When we say few seconds, we're talking about muhurtas. It's not a very auspicious time. So Kashyapa Muni is saying that we will have to wait for an auspicious time because thereby it will benefit all of us. So this is the point that is being brought out here. So there's one particular thing that we saw, which is about the relationship between a husband and a wife, and also the attitude of the husband towards the wife. That's a very important takeaway, an eye-opener for many people. That's how at least the Shastras are indicating how one should look at wife, and then how they should work together, live together, so that they'll be able to pass this material world together and then get out of the cycle of birth and death. So that's a very wonderful option that is made available to a human being, where each of them will be able to fulfill their desires and at the same time come out. So that's the thing. And then the next aspect, which is being highlighted by Kashyapa Muni, is about how everything has a particular time. There's a time, there's some need for regulation of all our activities, including procreation activity. So there's a time period for eating. There's a time period for sleeping. There's a time period for studying. I mean, we also know that there is a time period for chanting and so on and so forth, right? Because we've been told that the best time to chant is during the Brahma Muhurta time. So like that, for students, we generally say the best time to study is in the morning. So try to wake them up in the morning. And then when you study in the morning, then you'll be able to absorb a lot of things better. And there is also time for eating. It's not like you can just sit and eat whenever you want. There are certain timelines that have been there. And then there is also time for sleeping. So they say like early to bed and early to rise, because late night sleeping is not very good. In fact, they also say the sleep that you have from say 9 or 10 to 12, the 2.5 hours that you have is equivalent to around 4 or 5 hours of sleep duration. The quality of sleep is so nice that the body will be able to rest, or it gets the same rest as one would generally expect out of a 4 or a 5 hour sleep. So, I mean, that doesn't mean we should only sleep for 2.5 hours, but they're saying that that's the most appropriate time to hit the bed, and so on and so forth. Even playing, like when we were children, we were told that you have to play only in the evening, and as it is getting dark, then we were all called home. I remember I used to argue as a small child. I remember very clearly I used to ask my mother, why it is like that? Why should I not play a little bit more? I mean, what difference it makes? My mother used to say, no, after evening, then you should not play. And I said, then I used to be persistent. I used to ask her why. And then she used to say, she came up with the story. I don't know if it's it's the same thing other places. But she said, this is the time when actually Yashoda Maya is feeding Krishna. So it becomes a disturbance when you jump. No, not Yashoda Maya. She said, Bhumi Devi, that is Mother Earth is feeding. So I said, okay. So if you jump on Bhumi Devi, on Mother Earth, then it will disturb the whole aspect. So then I used to always think of Bhumi Devi as a mother, and then child Krishna being fed. So at least it made me think of Krishna, and then little Krishna, and thereby then also I'll not play. That sort of a thing. So even though maybe it was not true, or it's just a story, but then it gave the remembrance of Krishna, and then it also gave it made us not to do activities which are not meant to be done at a certain time. So obedience to the instructions became foremost for all of us. So like that, there are many small things. But today, what is happening in the modern days? What everything is being condemned, and then it is being questioned, and then there is this aspect of logical thinking coming in, and then too much of use of intelligence, which is questioning everything, and thereby we are not able to see the essence of things. The form becomes more important, and the essence is completely missed in our lives, and that becomes a very dangerous situation. And that is how the aspect of dharma is gone, and then the aspect of moksha is gone, and only artha and kama is remaining. And so it becomes very stressful. So what is the effect of all of this? That is important for us to understand. What is the effect is that we do things which we are not supposed to do at a particular time, like say eating. It's not very hard for us to relate. So you keep eating at all the times. The first thing the doctor will say, and then we will end up with some imbalances in the body. We fall sick, and then we go to the doctor, and then the doctor says that you will have to regulate things for you. Only then you will become all right. So our body is made like that, and so we'll have to. And then likewise, even the mind, frame of our mind, the thoughts that come to our mind, all of these are all very subtle things, but then we will have to follow certain things that are there which will help us to get all this together in a way that becomes favorable, or we develop a favorable personality, or a thought process, or a character, or our mind becomes healthy, and then we are able to see things clearly. So this becomes very important. If we are able to see things clearly, then what happens? Then our intelligence is increased. Then we realize how futile this material world is, how impermanent it is, and how there is this urgent need for me to get out of this body, because we realize we are not this body also. So all knowledge comes to us, all realizations begin to come to us by the mercy of the Lord. So in our own self-interest, we will have to ensure that we are accepting certain rules and regulations and following them, so that our lives will move in the way that it has to move. So that's the whole point. And yeah, so we've seen. In fact, today you can see people play. That's one thing that used to bother me. Day-night match. I always used to think, oh my God, they're playing in the night. And then we were told when we were children not to play. And look at this, under floodlights they are playing. So that's again, definitely it will have a toll on them, their health. We have seen that, many of them, injuries are there, and stress levels are very high because of this day-night thing. So there are many things which are happening, which they end up facing the brunt of all of these things, which is not good. So net, what is happening? There is more suffering. So any action that we do, it will definitely lead to suffering, because these actions are sense gratificatory in nature. And some of these reactions might be prolonged, and some of them are amplified. Like we might do something which is very pleasurable for a very short duration of time, but then we will have to suffer for it for a lifetime. And this is the aspect that is being highlighted by Kashyapa Muni. So what is happening here? He is trying to tell his wife that for some kind of a small pleasure, we are actually we will end up committing a big blunder, which we will have to carry all through our life. So what happens if one is indulging in an activity of procreation at a time when it is inauspicious, evening time, and then also there is this inauspiciousness connected to it, then we will end up with children who are godless, or who are impersonalist, or who have got ghost characters in them. So we don't get children who are pious. You don't attract a pious soul. So you end up attracting a soul which is in this unfortunate condition, roaming around as a ghost, or any of those things, And then Kashyapa Muni is also explaining why that is happening, which we will see as we move forward. So now we understand how a short-term gain or a pleasure is actually leading to amplified suffering, because then you'll have to live with the child all through, and then the child doesn't listen to you, and there is a constant headache, and then there are these demoniac qualities which are a constant source of pain for the parent. So in this way, it is amplified suffering that is there for a short-term gain that a person indulges in. So this is not. This is definitely a sign of less intelligence. It is not sumedha. So that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, only intelligent people will take to chanting. They will take to this Sankirtan movement. Others will not. So we can understand whoever is in this movement are intelligent people. That is what Prabhupada has said time and again, saying that you all are chanting. That means you are very intelligent. You cannot be dumb. So definitely not. So because of your intelligence, then you've chosen wisely. You've chosen to chant. You might struggle to chant. That is another aspect. But then the choice or the decision that one has made is not a bad decision. So it is a sign of intelligence. So like this, otherwise, then we get addicted. So that's another thing. Like, so we keep doing this thing of small gain and then continued prolonged suffering. There are many examples. It's not just procreation activity. Even in a simple act of smoking a cigarette, smoking is also like that, where it's not that they are not aware. I mean, this is at a bodily level, taking those examples so that we understand it at the bodily platform, and then extend it to the mind, and then the senses, the mind, and then the intelligence and all that. And even this false ego also, because we are put to shame because you have a son who, or a child who's not, who's always giving us suffering, who's always bringing complaints into the home. So our ego takes a beating, our mind is disturbed, so on and so forth. And thereby our physical health also suffers. But in smoking, you can see how the person is aware. Then they're not able to give up that momentary pleasure that they get out of smoking, even though they realize that later on I will have to suffer. They're saying that's okay. When that time comes, I will see. I mean, the intelligence, the crooked intelligence is such that it will reason out in many ways. Or I will get a cure, or science would have advanced so much that I'll be able to take out the ill effects. And then still, so I would have had the best of both. Like I would have enjoyed the moment also. And later on, when the body is suffering because of that, I'll be able to cure myself. So this way, people reason out and then continue. And that is how, that's the typical mindset of an addict for smoking or for alcohol. And then even why all those, not so good things, even things like sweets, a diabetic is not able to control that urge for eating a sweet. It's in the same category, those urges, which is like he or she has to eat it, pop it in. And then, okay, when the sugar increases, I will take a tablet, I will do it or something like that, they're trying to do. So like this, we are always constantly petting with our senses, and that is coming out here. But a person like Kashyapa Muni, we need so that he will be able to advise us of it. But then we are seeing here that Diti's position is also very similar. And Kashyapa Muni is reasoning with her, with logic, with Shastric injunctions. The logic is the same thing that we spoke of. He mentions that a few moments of happiness now, you will suffer lifelong with demoniac children. That's the aspect that he's bringing out. And then he is also saying, we know this time is inauspicious because who is roaming around during that period? It is all these ghosts and other goblins and, not natural people. They are the unnatural ones are the ones who are roaming around at this point. And thereby, we run a risk of attracting them instead of attracting a pious soul. So this is the explanation he's giving, because the time is inauspicious. So please wait, he's saying. But she is not willing to listen, because for her, the intelligence is lost. Now, she's a mirror of our mind. So she's she's overtaken by lust and desire, and thereby she wants it immediately. They can't wait, Patience is a virtue. Many of us don't have, or even if we have it, we'll not be able to use it when we need it most. So patience is a sign of intelligence, they say. So, but then when intelligence is lost, then patience is also gone. And then Kashyap Muni is saying that these ghosts and evil spirits will punish us, and they are moving around. So we saw that. And then they are moving around because that is the time when Lord Shiva, their master, is around also. And then that brings us to another aspect of position of Lord Shiva. So there are many things that we are discussing today. So one is the aspect of how it is important for us to understand the role of a woman, especially the wife, Grihastha. And then we saw that in a little bit of detail and how there is so much of gratitude, and that's the way it has to be looked at. And then also understand and be grateful that if it was not for that individual, I would have been in a bigger mess because of all my senses. So at least it got analyzed, or it got kind of what do you say, samyama, like restricted, put a boundary around that, so that, and then still have an opportunity to progress for me. So even though I'm indulging in certain desires, but still I still have an opportunity more because I'm in that particular ashrama, which is Grihastha ashrama. That is why it is called as ashrama. So where there is a reformation also that is happening. So that's the way to look at it. And then secondly, we saw how there is a time for everything, and we need to respect that. So if that is not respected, then definitely we will have to suffer for it. And that suffering, we saw some examples. Now, the third aspect is about Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva, we know he is a Parama Vaishnava. And then the position of Shiva is being explained very well in these shlokas, where Kashyapa Muni is saying, don't consider Lord Shiva to be an ordinary man. Why he is bringing that up is because Shiva is actually married to one of the sisters of Diti. That is, Diti is son of Daksha, and so is wife of Lord Shiva, that is Parvati Devi. That means Sati earlier. I mean, she was the wife of, she's the daughter of Daksha. So we know. So in one sense, Shiva is a family person. So generally, Shiva, okay, I know him. So then we sometimes undermine their greatness. That happened even with King Daksha. He thought he is, after all, my son-in-law. So there is some amount of casualness that comes in because of the relationship that is there. And thereby then we end up committing mistake. And we saw the first example of Daksha. And now Kashyapa Muni, being an intelligent person, is warning her. He's warning Diti. Don't think he's an ordinary person. Don't think he's just your brother-in-law or something like that. He is not like us. Us meaning he's not a regular living entity. He is beyond that. He is not. He is even beyond Lord Brahma. So Kashyapa Muni is actually laying out the aspect of Veda. Veda Tattva is being brought out here, where is very clearly saying that Shiva's position is such that it is above all conditioned living entities, all the way up to Brahma. But of course, he is not as equal to Shiva, but he is lower than Shiva. But still, his position is that he is above all of us. So thereby, he has powers. And what is the first power that he is referring to? He says he has got 3 eyes, and those 3 eyes are compared to the sun, the moon, and the fire. So he's trying to bring out the aspect that Lord Shiva can see everything. So he is like Lord Vishnu. He is also, he can see everything. So he is capable. He has that potency where everything is visible to him. It's not like, because Diti was thinking that it will be in closed doors, so nobody is going to watch us. So don't think like that. Don't think Shiva to be an ordinary man. Shiva will definitely see with his 3rd eye. So which means that he will know. And then Shiva's role is that, Shiva actually is very merciful. Another quality of Shiva is that he is so merciful. He is more merciful than Lord Vishnu himself. Why? Because he is extending the mercy to all the most unfortunate of entities. Most unfortunate of entities are those entities who don't even have a body with them, so that they can fulfill their desires, or they have a means through which to progress. They don't even have a body, so it's an even more unfortunate situation. It is like if somebody is going to school, then at the school level you can go and then teach and improve him. But what will happen to a child who is not even going to the school? So they are just left to themselves, right? So Lord Shiva is like that. He is very merciful to the those entities who don't even have a body, which is the ghosts, the goblins, and all that. And they are all with him, because they know that Lord Shiva is not differentiating them from the others. So he is a Samadharshi. and he's what do you call, all-knowing. That kind of, these are the qualities that he has. So they are moving along with him, and when they are moving around with him, and then when they see an opportunity where such ghosts can get a human body, then immediately Lord Shiva sanctions or allows them to occupy a body. Thereby, it becomes a promotion for them, because from having no body, at least they've got a body. It's like not going to a school to at least, okay, some school you are going, that's fine. Now we will figure out whether that was the best school or not, or whether that school is capable to take you out. That's secondary, but at least you got a school, entry into a school. So that's like that. So unfortunate that the person is not even going to school. The first thing would be to ensure that he's able to go to some school. So like that, Lord Shiva is being so merciful that he allows that ghost to enter a body. So thereby here what happens? The ghost will manifest as a child or a parent who indulged in sense gratification at a time which was not appropriate, and thereby then they will have to suffer, which means that the child will have ghostly characters, and then they could be impersonalist and so on and so forth. So this is what Prabhupada is mentioning very clearly. So Lord is very merciful to all. Lord Shiva is merciful to all people who have committed suicide. Who become ghosts actually? People who commit suicides. So there are two types of suicides, Prabhupada says in the purport. So one suicide is the physical body, like giving up the life, and then the other suicide is the atmaha, or the suicide of the soul, which is not surrendering to the Lord, which is the impersonalist, not accepting the supremacy of the Lord, then thinking that I am the same as the Lord, or we all become one. So the impersonalist also, in elsewhere also we've seen how Prabhupada is explaining that was also suicide also again. So naturally, Lord Shiva becomes the shelter for all types of such people committed suicide, whether it is in the bodily plane or it is in the soul level. So we can see how impersonalist worships Shiva. It's natural for them to worship there. But then Shiva is so magnanimous that he extends his mercy to them and allows them, and then keeps them with them, and at appropriate time puts them in bodies so that they can come out of their situation and progress in their path for spiritualization. But then in the event of such, in the transition period, if somebody ends up being a parent of such a child, it becomes very difficult, because then they will have to also suffer because of all the characteristics that are ingrained in them, which needs to be corrected, which can only happen in a human body. So like, because we know, I mean, when in our, this thing it is said, Rishikena Rishikeshas Sevanam. So we have to use our senses in the service of the Lord, that is Rishikesha. So only then we can get out of this human body. So we have a human body, we have this ability to do certain actions with it. So use that ability and use the senses in the service of the Lord. So thereby we'll be able to get out of this material world. And this is a wonderful arrangement that the Lord has made. And in the process of doing this, we are also allowed some kind of an engagement or some kind of enjoyment of the senses, so which is the samyama that we are talking about. The institution of marriage itself is one such concession that is given, where within the institution of marriage there can be some indulgence, but then thereby then it protects the person, both people, husband and wife, from being bothered by such desires outside, elsewhere, and so on and so forth. So this is how we are seeing the character of Shiva and how he is so magnanimous. So we will have to watch out for these inauspiciousness, because Shiva, being so merciful, can always put a ghostly soul into an individual if they are trying to break these rules. And this is taking care of the karma, because karma also states the same thing. So if you want sense desires, you couldn't wait, and then there is this immediate gratification that is happening, then you'll have to face the consequences, and that consequences by way of a ghostly child, and that is what Kashyapa Muni is saying. So we can see how well all these are getting connected, and stressing the importance of following a regulated life, accepting the Shastric injunctions, reading Bhagavatam and then taking the learnings out of it, understanding our position and the position of great personalities, personalities like Kashyapa Muni, personalities like Diti, Queen Diti, and also personalities like Lord Shiva, and then understanding their positions and our position, understanding our responsibilities, increasing our commitment, and doing all this by taking some resolutions, so that because today is the new year, so generally people take resolutions on New Year because they want to start afresh, they want to progress. So we also, as practicing Vaishnavas, it is good to have some resolutions for the new year, which are spiritual in nature, which help us in our devotion. So one thing that will definitely help us in our devotion is our aspect of surrender. So we surrender to the Shastras, we surrender to the Parampara, we surrender to Shrimad Bhagavatam, which means accept what is in it wholeheartedly and implement it in our day-to-day life without being judgmental about the characters that come here. Because sometimes, if we are not having a proper understanding, then we would look like, oh, they are also leading ordinary lives. They also are afflicted by sense desires. They are also like us. So what's the difference between me and them? And then the moment we do that, then we are not going to take any learnings out of this. So the position of Bhagavatam, the characters who come there are all in their own places. So in fact, this whole story, if you look at, is all because Maitreya and Vidura. Vidura is asking Maitreya, you told me the incarnation of the boar, which was so wonderful to hear. But why Hiranyaksha attacked the boar? Why did all this happen? I want to know what was the background to this and all. And then that background, by way of explaining that background, story as told by Maitreya, it starts with Kashyapa Muni and this conversation that we are seeing, because he had a desire, and how he then doesn't allow her intelligence to rule her, but then she gives way to her desires, and thereby Kashyapa Muni is obliged or duty bound to act, because he has that view with respect to his wife. And then he knew that these are things, whatever will happen, the Lord is there. So so that's how Hiranyaksha is brought forth into this world. So all of them are characters. So if incarnation of the Lord has to come, of course he comes through devotees. And then even if a Rakshasa is to be born, who has to be killed by an incarnation of the Lord, this again is a stage setting that has to be done. So it is done by great personalities like Kashyapa Muni and Diti, because we know Diti is the mother of all the demons who were born. So it might look like, oh, what type of person is Diti? But then we have to understand they're all playing the role, because they are teaching us what not to do and how to lead our lives. So there are two things, what to do and what not to do. So not to do examples are also there, and to do examples are also there. So we can't be judgmental about them, because they're all part of the Leelas of the Lord. And when our understanding is right in this way, and then the position of Lord Shiva is also being explained. Suddenly it might look like, why is Lord Shiva always portrayed as somebody with ash? It says, the last verse also talks about the same thing, where it's always dust covered, dust as in the ash dust, and unclean, and so on and so forth, and always with some beings which are not so nice to look at, So why is Shiva being portrayed like that? That is because he has chosen that role where he is so merciful that he wants to give the mercy to such entities also. So thereby we can see how, irrespective of the position, there is always an opportunity for an individual entity to raise themselves up with proper understanding, with proper surrender, and thereby make their lives successful. And that is why even Varnashrama system is there. Within the human body also, there are many characteristics like the three gunas, Sattva, Rajo, and Tamo. And based on this, there are certain natures that we have. And in certain natures that we possess, we exhibit or we react in certain ways. So when we are reacting in certain ways, then some of those ways will attract more karma, which will make us go further down, and some of it will attract karma, which will make us go up. But then there has to be an arrangement which will ensure that we recognize our position and then try to act in a better way so that we can break the cycle of birth and death. So the whole aspect of whatever you see, if we are able to connect to this thing that it is all there by the mercy of the Lord, so that I can raise myself up and above, then I think we are in a safe situation, and we can be thankful to the Lord that such an understanding is there. And this understanding is only coming because of the mercy of the Parampara. So because of our chanting, because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, so because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us the holy name, he said, chant, and then all the other things will happen automatically. So we actually are seeing that happen here. So by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When we do this, then there is a purification. That purification is to do with respect to our mind, our intelligence, our ego, our false ego, all of it, our senses, everything is getting purified. So then we are able to understand subtler things. Otherwise, without all this, if we try to explain to somebody, then invariably they will end up with a wrong conclusion. So on that note, I will stop here. These were the teachings of, as we continue with these teachings, we just can understand these various positions, and then we can also firm up with our thing about, like say, if we hear a verse which talks about pleasing the Lord. How do we please the Lord? It says, like there's a shloka in Shrimad Bhagavatam, it says, Atapumbir Dvijashreshta Varnashrama Vivagasa Swanutishtasya Dharmasya Samsiddhi Haritoshanam. So the only goal is to please the Lord, and pleasing the Lord is possible irrespective of my nature, because there is Varnashrama. And by getting into the correct ashrama and carrying out the duties of that ashrama, then that becomes purificatory, and that pleases the Lord the most. So in this way, we can align ourselves on this wonderful start of this wonderful year. So wishing everyone a happy new year once again, and continue your spiritual journey by the mercy of the Lord in the way you all are doing. So you all are regularly attending these wonderful classes, and then actually it is giving an opportunity for you to associate with the Shrimad Bhagavatam. The speaker doesn't matter. Because the content is so wonderful that anybody speaks, the import is taken and then it is appreciated and thing. But then the appreciation is not for the speaker, but it is for the content. The content delivery. Whoever is delivering is not, the media is not necessary. It's like a postman. He just brings that message and then delivers. That's all. You can be thankful to the postman, that's all. But then you can't say that because of this postman I became rich. No, he just delivered the money. It was sent by somebody else. In the olden days, there is practice of receiving money through the money order. So that example is taken. So like this, and then it benefits everybody, even the speaker, the hearer, even Shrimad Bhagavatam, it says like, Sukadev Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj, who are all benefiting: the person who asks the question, the person who's giving the reply, and then all the people who are listening. All the three people benefit because it is a message of God, and message of God is what we need and nothing more. So on this note, I'll stop here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Then pronouns to all of you. If there are any comments or questions, please go ahead. Otherwise, we can conclude the session. Mataji, over to you.
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. What a wonderful start of New Year with such nice explanation of these shlokas. And we have associated with all the devotees, though it is virtual association, but thanks to all of you, and special thanks to the people, to the devotees who have turned on their cameras. So today it was looking like more personalized class. So thank you so much. And thank you to all those 31, 32 devotees who have attended today in first morning, because we know that many of you maybe yesterday night, like Prabhu was also in the temple. So, but yet you all came. So thank you very much. Is there any question? Padma Mataji, do you have question?
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Wish you also a happy new year. Prabhu, in text 25, it says Lord Shiva's body is reddish, but we have never seen reddish. We always seen pictures and we have only heard he's blue. So why is it that, Prabhuji?
I'm not having an answer for that, Mataji, but it says that it is turned reddish with the ash and things like that. So, not sure. But yeah, he's different. He looks different. And then he's not somebody who anybody would immediately like because of nature.
Appearance.
The appearance, yeah.
Yes. Okay, thank you,
But I'm
Prabhuji.
not sure about it. Anybody else knows, then you can say. In fact, we have
Okay,
a
no
similar
problem.
confusion even with the color of Krishna. And then Gargamuni is saying this personality has come in 4 colors before: green, red, so like that. So it's color is always an enigma. So likewise, Shiva's position is such that he also continues to be an enigma because he's above all of us. That's the only takeaway for me. So thank
Yes,
you.
Prabhu, because
I'm sorry, I'm not able
yes,
to
Prabhu,
answer
because
you.
this was in different. Yeah, for Krishna it was in different yugas.
Yes.
But here they say Lord Shiva is red. That's why I wanted to just add a doubt just to clear it.
That's a good observation, but yes, I'm not very sure. Maybe we'll hear about it later, or we'll try to find that out.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji,
Hare
Hari
Krishna,
Bol.
Prabhu.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much, Prasanatha Balaram Prabhuji. Whenever we want you, you are always here. And Happy New Year to you, to your family, and all the audience who are available here. Especially to those who have turned on the cameras. My cameras are off because I'm in the office, so no excuse. Okay, Prabhuji, so one general question is there, and probably this question will benefit everyone, including me. It will benefit everyone. Normally, we see that, as a preacher, there are some eligibility, some qualifications, and we can start taking sessions, and that is good. Like initiated devotees, 16 rounders, okay, that experience is required. But in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and even when the Maharaj and other Swamis are giving lectures, they say that everyone should preach. Everyone should preach. So at what time, at what phase of our life we should decide that we are qualified to preach? That preaching can be in any way, can be like taking sessions, or it can be by attitude as well. But every time, we have that shyness. And speaking on behalf of everyone, I know. So that shyness is there, and we feel that we are not qualified, okay, to preach. So can you please elaborate on this?
Well, that's a nice question. When you were asking this question, I was reminded of 2 things which I will share. See, firstly, the first qualification is that I don't have any qualification. Prabhupada said this. So we don't have any qualification. So it is just that we are being empowered. In the sense, like you just repeat, like Prabhupada gives this example that I am not a learned person. He takes that example of a child, and then he says but then the child is not qualified in any way, but then the child is repeating what it has heard from the father. And so what the child is saying is correct. So we just hear and then we try to repeat. So even though there is no eligibility or qualification, so that is with respect to the speaker. So now, when we talk about what is this gating criteria or who can speak, Prabhupada actually gives another example of this baby. What's her name? There's a small girl. Saraswati, yes, Saraswati. So he gives that example and he says, Saraswati also can preach. And then what is she saying? She used to, I believe, whoever is coming, she used to say, do you know Krishna? She will ask her, a small baby, barely just beginning to speak, maybe 2-year-old or something like that. So she asks whoever comes, she says, do you know Krishna? Then she'll ask somebody, and then that person will say, no, I don't. Oh, you don't know? He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's all. And then she'll go to the next person. Do you know who's Krishna? So she's taking Krishna's name, and then she's saying that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This preaching, Prabhupada says, well, that's all. You don't need anything else. Even Saraswati is preaching. So in this way, Prabhupada was very encouraging with respect to the mood of or the desire to want to preach. It should be like we should carry that desire like a child, so enthusiastic, like whoever comes, irrespective of who's walking in. She used to go and then talk like this. So So that's the attitude that we need to have, enthusiasm. And then, of course, within the organization, there could be some criteria which is set forth by the senior Vaishnavas, the gurus who are there, because that is more from the perspective of trying to make it presentable to the outside. It's more of time, place, and circumstances, So because we know we have a certain thing, and then to cater to a certain kind of presentation, a certain level of understanding has to be there, so that continued speaking is possible, and then we'll be able to bring out the essence or contradictory things like today's shlokas and all. There are many ways where it can get misrepresented and all that. So for that, then it's more like depending situational that such a thing is made. But otherwise, Prabhupada very clearly said that all of us, and why Prabhupada, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Yare deka tare kaho Krishna upadesh. So whoever you see. So preaching is at many levels. So if you're preaching to the masses and the classes, so preaching to the class, maybe some amount of refinement is needed, but preaching to the mass, nothing. So that is why anybody joins the movement also, they'll say, okay, let's do Nagar Sankirtan, and then they are given some books, go and then sell the books. Of course, when you have to speak to a certain kind of individual, then you should have read the book, should have understood, so you have to talk to that person, hold the conversation, and then make that sale. But otherwise, you're still free to go and then distribute the books. So like that, preaching is also free for everyone to preach. But then, when we are talking about certain individuals, then maybe little knowledge is needed. So thereby you have these criteria. So this is how we can balance the two. It might look contradictory. Prabhupada has said this, but we put some rules and regulations. So both are needed. Enthusiasm should be there, like of a child, and we may not carry the complete. And nobody, even the most utmost of the preacher, is not fully aware. Lakshmi Devi herself is not fully aware of the Lord. In one of the Madhva speakers was saying, who is God means God is somebody who always remains an enigma, even after you discuss about him for days together or months together or even years together. There's always this, he remains a question mark, or he remains with some unanswered things, some inexplicable thing. Because such a person only can be God, because otherwise, if everything is explained, then he is not God. So that will remain there. I mean, nobody is having the complete knowledge. But yeah, so this is situational. I don't know if that answered your question, but this is how I would put it across to.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
very
for
much.
joining.
Thank you so much. So this question was the answer for everyone, all of you. Please start some house programs and give us the score how many guys are coming to your house. Today is a good day, so probably you can push for it. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, can you tell me? Yeah, can you tell the difference between dham and teeth, Prabhuji?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that question. The last sentence.
Dham, Prabhuji, and teeth. Differences, Prabhuji.
Dham and what is the other one?
Teeth place, holy place, Prabhuji. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Sorry, I'm not able to hear that. Can somebody repeat?
Yeah, Prabhu, Mataji is asking the difference between dham and tirth.
Tirthasthan. Tirthasthan. Okay. So, see, there is this dham which has the influence of the deity or of the Lord. It is spread over more in a dham. That means like anything that you do in a dham becomes very pure, because that's the type of potency that is put in that particular place. Because in fact, they say like in the dham, you make an aparad, then it becomes very severe because you're in a holy place. The whole thing is holy. And then there are also instances where they say that if you are in the dham itself, that means that you are in the right place. So the effect of the temple or the deity is spread a little bit more, because that is how the Lord has desired. So that even if you don't come into the temple, then there is this effect. Like they say in certain dhams, like somebody is doing, like I'll just tell you, I was doing Shad of my father in Gaya, and sorry, not Gaya, in Varanasi. Then he said there was something that he said differently there compared to when I do it here in Bangalore. Then I asked him that, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's a good point, but then you don't have to worry because we are here in the Varanasi. It's a dham, so there's nothing. You don't Gaya and all these kshetra." He said, these are all kshetras where you don't have to worry. I mean, you just do this. This is more than that. But you'll have to do all of that when you're away from when you're in another place. So the effect of the dham spiritually is more potent. At the same time, the aparad also becomes that much more magnified. Tirth Sthan is like, where you actually go and then depend on that, the water coming from the feet of the Lord, and then, you take that, or in the past, some such pastime has happened, and then the Lord has bestowed certain potency into that particular Tirth, whereby you have to have that. And then the Tirtha Kshetra is a place where such, water is available, which was blessed by the Lord. So like that. So it's a little limited, whereas Dham is a little more all-encompassing. Just being there itself is enough. Even if you're not had the Tirth or the Darshan, you still are in the Dham, and then you get the benefit of that Dham. So there are various levels at which these words are used, and the highest is the Dham.
Prabhuji, so non-devotees, or devotees or non-devotees who are just in the beginning, who are beginners, they should not go, Prabhuji, to dhams for a longer period, because they do not know about this, that we should not do any offenses, and it will be multifold for so many times. So because of that, they should not go for longer times?
No, in fact, they should go. But yeah, remaining for a long time is not, at least for a devotee, because we know, and then we'll end up making mistakes. So we are told to come off so that to protect us. But for a non-devotee, his protection is more when he is in the dham than he is outside. So that person should actually stay in the dham in one sense, even though there are those sinful things that are happening, but still the purification is also underway. Anyway, outside or inside, they will do that mistake, but then they are having the opportunity to come out in a dham. So these are, see here for us, we are told like we shouldn't be in the dham for a long period, because by nature then we become casual, and then we'll do aparads, and then those aparads become Vaishnava aparads, and then it becomes more, it has a greater effect on us. Whereas for a person who is just getting out of that material conditioning, so for him the benefit probably is more than this minus thing, So
okay, brothers.
Yeah, so it's for us, generally it is told like that. Otherwise, nobody will go to the dham, and that's not the intention. We want people to visit dham and benefit from there. So for devotees, they say don't stay for long, because you will end up making up. So it's the fault is with us. So we are told that way to protect us.
So what should be the maximum time devotee should stay in a dham, Prabhuji?
Oh yeah, they say 3 days. Don't stay more than 3 days.
Oh, 3 days.
That's what I've heard. Yeah. But there are instances where within the 3 days also we can make aparad. So, but at least it's just like minimizing the whole thing.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we'll end the session here. Okay. Yes, yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva patitana Jai Shri Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna to everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so much,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Shall I end the session, Prabhu?
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.